Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deserts and Garden podcast. I'm Nathan, and this is my wife Mia.
Here is where we share our daily highs and lows. If you're new here, this is not just a highlight reel, but where we share the realities of navigating marriage, faith, and our life together with God's guidance every step of the way.
Absolutely, and today's episode is going to challenge how we think about purpose. A lot of people believe that their passion is their purpose, and that's just not true.
Right, so we'll break it down into 3 sections, as we do. First, we'll talk about the difference between our purpose and passion. We'll talk about what Scripture says about our real purpose. And lastly, we will wrap it up by talking about how we can shift our mindsets to build an eternal legacy. So if you've ever wrestled with, finding your purpose or what's my purpose, if those are thoughts that you've had, this one's for you.
Yeah, so let's start with this. How many times have you heard someone say, I just want to find my purpose in life?
I mean, all the time. There's so many books on this. And usually what people mean when they say that is, I want to find something that I'm passionate about that I'll get paid for.
$1 bills, y'all. Right. But passion and purpose are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Passion basically boiled down is it's what excites you.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you enjoy.
Yeah.
But purpose is so much bigger than you.
Yeah. And I think that that's where a lot of people get stuck. They'll think, if I'm not doing my dream job, if I'm not on fire for what I'm doing, then I don't have a purpose. And I think a lot of people have warped their purpose into their job. But purpose isn't about a job. It's about the mission that God has given us. Those things are completely different.
Yeah, I feel like you're saying, a lot of people have warped the idea that, their passion is to work.
Yeah.
They live to work.
Yeah.
And, that's not right.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's talking about Proverbs 19. It says, many are the plans of a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails.
That's good.
You might have a passion for, music or business, or in my case, firefighting.
Mm-hmm.
But these are just jobs. Our purpose should be to know God and make him known.
Yeah, that is our only purpose in life. And it's great if, just as a caveat, it is great if you do something that you are passionate about. It's great if you can find a job that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it comes down to passion or purpose is always greater.
Yeah.
So, getting back to what that means biblically, the Bible talks so much about what our purpose is.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll start in Genesis, where it all began. God tells Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Genesis 1. What was it? 128? Something like that. And that's not just about having kids. It's about building, creating and just leaving a legacy.
Yeah, yeah. So another verse, hopping from Old Testament to New Testament, in the New Testament, Jesus says that he gives us the Great Commission, go therefore and make disciples of all nations. So you're saying, it's not be fruitful and multiply isn't only for those who can bear children. Our purpose isn't, our purpose really is not at all what we do for a living. It's about who we impact for eternity. Christ, it doesn't say, go therefore and work at your favorite job.
Right.
It says, go therefore and make disciples, be fruitful and multiply. That's not tied to where you're at, your vocation, what you're passionate about doing. Our purpose is to be fruitful, multiply, make disciples of all the nations.
Yeah, I don't know why that's just dawned on me, but those verses are basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know, just blowing my mind over here. But, moving along, let's say you're like me. Let's say you're a firefighter.
Yeah.
And, for me, my passion is putting out fires or rescuing people.
Mm-hmm.
But my purpose is to father children and father them well.
That's good.
It's loving my spouse. And that means, loving my spouse like Christ loved the church. And it's also reflecting God in my workplace.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whether your workplace, for you work at the firehouse and you're in public. So for other people, whether that's, at an office or in a classroom, or if you're like me, you're a stay-at-home wife, or if you're raising children, with the kiddos, your purpose is always to reflect Christ. And that's, you know, ourselves as individuals, but then also like in our marriage we should be reflecting Christ, and then as we grow our family as a unit should be reflecting Christ. We should be bringing others to him and stewarding well what he has given us. So if he's given us a job in the fire field, we should be stewarding that well. If he's given us a job in real estate, we should be stewarding that well. Or like for me, I sell solar on the side, so like I should be stewarding that well. Or, you know, if he's given us kiddos and we're raising them, like we should be stewarding well the environment that he puts us in, but not equating that with, you know, not equating our passion with what our purpose is.
Yeah, I mean, you saying that just reminds me of the parables when Jesus was talking about the 3 servants, where he gave one servant, you know, 10 bags of gold. And
the talents.
Talents, yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, like, throughout that entire parable, we're called to spirit well, or we are called to steward well what God has given us.
Yeah.
Whether it's 10, 5, or 2. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not called to, you know, stick it in the ground and, you know, bury our heads. Like, we're called to lead well.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't know what he's talking about, the parable of the talents is in Luke 19, and then it's also in Matthew 25. So if you want to go and read those 2, that's where you could find them.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the question. Are you chasing your passion, or are you living in your purpose?
Right. And, you know, to further that and, like, to really get into, like, some deep thinking is, you know, is your identity wrapped in a career? Is it wrapped in a hobby? Is it wrapped in a title like wife or mother or boss, CEO? Like, and if it is, what happens when that changes? Like, what happens when you retire? What happens when you switch jobs? What happens, you know, if you lose the ability to do what you love? Like, what happens then?
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me a lot of a podcast I heard by Riggs. Talking about, like, you know, you'll have these...
Oh, the Gritty Men podcast.
Gritty Men podcast, yeah. Sorry. I call them Riggs. But in the podcast, he was talking about these guys who literally worked their entire life, and just like guys, it's girls too nowadays, who literally work their entire life away. And they'll treat, you know, like, their family like crap. They'll treat their legacy like crap. And they won't do anything to further it. But
it's like too busy for family.
Too busy for family, exactly. But you'll treat your coworkers and the people you work with like gold. And you'll give them the first fruits, and you give them the best.
Yeah.
And you'll do it for 25 years, basically your entire life. You'll work with these companies.
At this point, people are working way longer than that. But
Absolutely. But the point is, you go to retire, and what do you get? Maybe you get a gold watch. Maybe you get, like...
a gold pen.
A gold pen. Maybe you say, hey, thanks so much. You get a cake and, like, a banner.
Yeah.
And then you retire.
Yeah.
And what do those people do? Maybe you're brought up in conversation once a month. And then maybe a month turns into once a year. Mm. And then you're completely replaced and everyone's forgotten about you.
Yeah.
And the people that you've treated like crap or you haven't paid attention to your entire life are the people you're surrounded by now.
Yeah.
What legacy are we working on? Like, what is our passion? Like,
That's
and
good.
what is our purpose?
That's good.
To expand on that, Matthew 15 talks about this and like why it's so important. You know, Jesus warns us about getting caught up in man-made traditions instead of trusting God in what truly matters. It's not about how impressive we look to the world. It's about whether or not we're leaving an eternal impact.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's just some practical questions to be asking ourselves is like, how do we shift our mindset? If you're used to the rat race, if you're used to one way of life, this is just how you've been. Like, how do we shift that mindset?
Yeah. I mean, I say first, like, we had to pause and we had to look around and say, like, what am I actually building? Am I investing in my marriage? And, you know, am I raising my kids to love God? You know, am I sharing my faith with my community? Because those things will last.
Yeah, and I mean your passions change, but your purpose will always remain the same. Like your purpose to glorify God in everything you do, that, you know, that surpasses all the ages. Whereas I might be passionate right now about, I don't know, juicing.
Right.
Or you might be passionate about firefighting right now, but when you're 60, you might be passionate about woodworking. Like, who knows? Your passions change based on feelings and emotions, whereas glorifying God in everything we do is our eternal purpose, to know him and to make him known.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, if you take away anything from today's podcast, it should really be like your purpose isn't your passion. It's so much bigger than that. Don't let your life be summed up to what you do.
That's good.
Your life should be the summation of who you follow. And we should be building an eternal legacy. Like our mindset should be eternal. Like our children, our children's children, knowing God and making him known. Like that should be our first purpose and passion in life.
Yeah, like we should be able to ask ourselves and like ask those around us, like, what do you want your legacy to be? Let us know in the comments if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. Leave us a review or just share this with a friend.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for listening to the Deserts and Gardens podcast. Until next time, walk in love,
Live with purpose,
and trust God in every desert and garden. See you guys.